what that is? Discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Can't fucking do this? Then do it. Do it 100%, because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion, become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success. Welcome to the Coaches Show, episode 8. I'm Coach Mike Bianca, and with me as always is my good friend and coach of AC Diesel, Ryan Gray. We've got a jam-packed show today for you with all the moves and happenings in the WNXL and the NXL Pro Division. Our correspondents, Hailey Leyva and Vince Cunningham, will share all the updates, and today's guest is none other than the legendary coach himself, Shane Pestana of LA Ironmen.
Yeah, I'm excited to have Shane on. When we scheduled him, I wrote out a list of questions that I wanted to ask him because we scheduled them like a month ago. I've now had to change them like 3 times. Look, with all the things that they've been doing. Yeah, it's a mess. But I'm really excited to visit with him and talk about how he's going to use all these new weapons. He's got a completely new roster, so it'd be pretty exciting to get with him. Let's jump right in with the WNXL news with Hailey Leyva.
Welcome, Hailey.
Hello.
So since the last time I was here, quite a bit has happened in the WNXL, and I'm sure there's much more to come because, we're just at the end of this year, but I'm sure there's a lot more to happen before the start of the season in March. But so far, with some of the top teams, things have shaken up a little bit. So Dallas Vibe did lose Raylan Burns and Brittany Vang. Also, Leslie Cluse, congratulations to her because she's expecting. She posted on Instagram. So just a couple of holes in their team now that those are all really good players that they have. But they did pick up Michaela Wilkins, who is an old teammate of mine from Destiny, and she's such a strong player. She plays D2. She's been playing forever, I feel like. She's a very strong back player. She plays D-side also. She literally plays anywhere, but I think it's a really good pickup for them going into the season, especially losing those few players that they have so far. Also, with the Heroines, they did cut Alexis Laser and Nicole Gates, and those are 2 very strong back players for them as well. But along with them not having those players next year, they picked up Daniela Rojas from the Femmes, who is such a strong player. She's a strong attacker. She's always out there. She's always posting her workouts and things like that. She's very athletic, ton of athleticism. And she's also she's plays paintball every day, I feel like. So she's got the experience, and she's played with me on Destiny before, a very good player, as well as they also picked up Katie Kelly, who has a long history with paintball. I played with her on Destiny, and I remember whenever they told us, oh, Katie's playing with us, but she played with Destiny years ago too. I've always heard of Katie Kelly and her history of playing in high divisions a long time ago and being such a great player and teammate, asset to teams. So I think that's a huge pickup for them now. Picking up Daniela, Katie, and both of the sisters, that's a pretty, just those 4 alone, plus the other players they have on that team, that's a pretty stacked roster, if you ask me.
Doesn't sound like they're playing any games.
Yeah, no, they're not. They have really, really good players next year, and I'm still curious to see who they'll pick up as their head coach since with Brad and Rosie leaving. So I think the coach will also help add to that power that they have there now. But also, with that, the Suricatos are now going to be officially a WNXL Pro team. So it'll be interesting to see how they do. They did decent at Cup going against all of the WNXL Pro women's team. So it'll be interesting to see with things changing within the teams this year, with the players changes on the teams and everything, how they'll go up against everybody. But it's exciting to have another team in the WNXL Pro division.
Yeah, it's great. Anytime we're adding teams, that's a bonus.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's the goal of the WNXL right now, is to grow and have more women. So, that's awesome that we're having more teams And whoever does end up buying Destiny's spot, that'll be interesting as well, because more new faces in the WNXL is the overall goal.
Yeah. So what about you? Where are you going to play? You ready to share that news yet?
I cannot share this information yet. I will say I've made a decision, but we'll know in like a month.
All right. Well,
okay. And you're going to break that here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I will. I definitely will. No one else will know. I've only told. See, I can't even tell my dad because he talks a lot. So he spills the beans too much. So everything is. I'm like one of the few people who know. Which
so even Lupe is not in the know.
No.
That's crazy. Yeah, well, you already know who I think it is, so we'll find that out later. And thank you. Yeah, that's big stuff. It sounds like the Heroines are going to be tough.
Yeah, they are. I mean, they were already a really great team, and them adding more fuel to that like fire, like they're going to be a good team to play against next year for sure.
Yeah. All right, Hailey. Well, thank you. Hope you had a safe New Year, and we'll see you next week.
Yes. Bye. Happy New Year's.
Happy New Year.
All right, man, there's changes happening everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah. Changes happening everywhere. So since the last time we filmed our show, there have been more moves, I think, in the WNXL and NXL than it feels like more than we've had all last season. So I know Mark Johnson kind of coming in and doing the AC Diesel thing kind of in the early January time period, threw everything for a loop last year. Things are happening much more quickly this year. And, you know, we'll talk about this with Vince, but Todd Adamson hasn't even started. It's like, it's amazing.
Yeah, I know it's, you know, like we were saying, we felt heading into this offseason that it was going to be the craziest offseason to date. And so far, I don't think we've really been disappointed because there's still a lot on the horizon.
Absolutely. Well, let's bring Vince in and talk about it.
Hey.
Welcome. Hello.
What's going on, everybody?
So spill the tea.
So I will kind of take you through a little bit of a timeline of how events and then of how everything started to unfold, because you know all of us have talked about it, right? It only takes that one piece to then start unraveling everything. So I believe it or not, Ryan, you kind of had the first piece in that with Cody Mikowski coming on, right? And then with J-Rab, you know, parting ways with the organization as well. So that started a little bit of a dynamic shift where everyone started to like, oh, we got to start making moves now or else we're going to get left behind. So obviously, you know, one of the things you talked about was Todd Adamson coming in, buying Level spot. That was the essentially the predecessor to that was Danny Schoenhauer getting picked up by Dynasty, right? All of those Dynasty guys have stated that, you know, there's more Dynasty babies on the way. Some of those guys maybe not at one event. So bringing in Danny, and they tried to get Danny last year, you know, and he decided to stay true to Level because they Level lost one of their big players, Sam Silberg, to Infamous last season. So they're like, hey, Danny decided to stay true to Level. And unfortunately, you know, I talked to Pando personally, and he was just like, hey, when you start getting to a level where all your best players start getting poached, you know, it's hard to try to rebuild that and keep that team relevant. So, you know, he knew that Todd was looking for a team. I think, you know, from talking with Pando, he has other, you know, business things that he wants to do as well. So it just made sense for him. I will say that talking to Todd Adamson and talking to Pando, Todd is going to hold a closed tryout with the Level guys to see which ones to keep around. He is going to give that organization and those guys who have built it up a shot. Don't know. A couple guys have already started leaving. There's talk of retirement. One of the players went back to their divisional team pretty quickly. So then from there, small little things, like I said, started happening after that. We have, you know, Michael Johnson goes to Notorious. Mark Barolo goes to the Bears. Little things here and there. And then really quickly, Tom Guest gets picked up, then starts this ball kind of rolling of the Ironmen. And I know you all will talk about that later on with Shane, but, just to kind of, not only to your guys' point, have we had a lot of moves start, but we've also have some free agents now kind of coming out of the, guys that used to play pro, they're starting to come back, guys that, like, for example, Brandon Portman, who I know, who played down in semi-pro. He came up to Latin Saints to try to help out. He's definitely one of those developmental guys, a guy that, maybe has that glimmer of talent to play pro. He just needs more development. So he, didn't really get the shine. Obviously, I don't think anybody on Latin Saints got the shine, with the exception of maybe Evan Manners. Evan Manners balled out for them. But, he comes in the free agency, and then you have the dime drops, essentially, Revo, Ironmen, and this whole conversation that's happening now. Talking to the Revo camp, Henry Sense and O'Mara were already in talks to leave after World Cup, but because they had done so well at World Cup, they were like, hey, let's try to run this back, right? Because Henry got a couple different offers. And so Henry, he sells off the rest of his ownership into Revo, and then next thing you know, it seemed like Ironman cut everybody. Nick Slowiak, who's the face of that team, right? So Nick gets cut. Al Fernandez, who is the longest running active player on Ironman, he gets cut. Jordan Boyum gets cut, and then all of you guys seen what happened after that. All the signings: Henry Sense, Stephen O'Mara, Tom Guest, Scotty Graham, Damian Vasquez. And then I believe they're signing a guy from Just Us, Mitch Finley, that played Canadian ball. Just Us used to play with the Distortion team back when they were on their run. And I believe they're signing him next. I just talked to them about that today. So it's been, and Ironman, I believe they parted ways with Fran and Nikki as well, two staples of that organization that have been there for a little bit since kind of the 2019-2020 season when Todd Martinez was the coach. And then Nikki took over after that. So it'll be interesting. I'm excited to wait for you guys to talk to Shane and see what he has to say. I mean, it's a whole new organizational structure. And Mike, to your point, it's not done yet, right? The offseason's not done. I'm hearing more big pickups after the new year. Contracts are being looked at. So
crazy.
That was a lot, but that was a lot. But it's been, I feel like every single day I'm getting new, either people, free agents, and then, or, people signing. It's just been, it's been an interesting couple of weeks.
Let's talk through some of these moves really quick. So Mark Barolo goes to the Bears.
Yep.
I think that's a great pickup for them. Kind of a roster that has gone through a lot of chaos, through this offseason, with several of the guys leaving, and then a couple of the guys going back to Leverage. Ivan Gonzalez and Chris Caputo go back to Leverage. I think that's a great pickup for them. I think it adds a little bit of depth. And then Cyrus Garinger got picked up by Paintball Fit.
Yeah.
Which, if he's moving to Texas, which I think you posted that, Cyrus is going to move down to Texas. If he goes down there and he's going to live and work out there, he's going to get much better really fast.
Dude's an
really
animal.
Fast.
Super sick mullet too.
And then Michael Johnson. Michael played with Austin Notorious during semi-pro, played, I think, 2 or 3 events with the group before we ended up picking up Archie Barnes Jr. And they were going to have to split time, and Michael wasn't really ready for that. And so he needed to step away and kind of get life right. Really excited for him. And I think it sounds like maybe Archie's going to play 1 or 2 events, maybe. And then Michael will be right there. So I think that's really good for them. Danny going to Dynasty. I'm really excited to see Danny with a group of players that can, when Danny does what he does, he doesn't turn around and, a bunch of guys are dead.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal. And I'm going to pull a Adam Schefter move real quick. So breaking news. So Austin Notorious has officially signed Grant Piani as their head coach for the 2024 season. Just got the text message.
Good. Okay. Yeah. I think Grant will do well with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Grant will do well with them.
So you were saying, so so Danny doing well. Yeah, I mean, I don't think Danny's ever played, and I love Level. Those guys are from Ohio. I'm an Ohio boy, so I don't think he's, besides maybe their second season, maybe the first season, he's ever played with a really stacked back line where he'd have to worry about those guys dying all the time. We've seen that survivability issues, and you two know better than this because you scouted those games. It just seemed like Danny would get all the right spots and then his entire back line to be dead behind him, and now he's on an island, right? So, yeah. I mean, he's going to have the best back players in the world behind him, whether that's Yosh or Frazee or Greenspan. I mean, the guys have been doing it for a long time, and just, I'm excited to see what he does there. But yeah, a ton of moves.
And then maybe the biggest one, in my opinion, is Rab going back to Russian Legion.
Yeah. That is, and everyone can say what they want. I think this is exactly, and you and I actually talked about this, is exactly all I think he needed, was to be back in that system that made him an all-star, because it's a very disciplined system. It's a very no-nonsense system. I mean, he's going to be in a position where I think he hasn't been in a long time, where he's going to be forced to play a lot of paintball because of how Legion runs that camp. So, maybe this is him. Maybe this is going to be his way. And this is just my opinion as Vince from Let's Talk Paintball, not the league or anything else. But I think, in my opinion, this is his chance to kind of restrike the fire on what the name Justin Rabakov used to mean, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And, the Legion's going to be in Florida. He lives in Florida.
Yep.
I think it's all around. It's a great move for him. It's a great move for them. What I hope to see is Malloy getting to go be a 1 again.
Absolutely.
Not see Malloy kind of playing a can on the snake side, or, I want to see Malloy being an attacker again, not just attacking at the end of the game, but going and getting involved in the game really quickly. And I think he'll have the freedom to do that now.
Yeah. Now, on the other side of the thing, obviously, Mike, you've been around this game for a long time too. The Ironmen, restructuring, right? That's a huge deal for that brand, and we've all been around, obviously, for paintball for a long time in that name. But Mike, what do you think about them? Letting go of not, Jordan Boyan was there for a year, but Al's been there since the Ironmen and Royalty merger back in 2010, and then Nick and now has been with them for the last 4 or 5 years. What do you gauge on that from like a coaching rebuilding kind of GM standpoint?
Well, I think the merger with Royalty was around 2015, 2016.
Was it? Okay, a little.
Well, and that's just because I think I was hanging out with them around that time, and so I was aware of a lot of that. Here's the thing: until we talk to Shane, right? I think what you're looking at is, okay, we had this certain structure. We had a specific, and you've heard us talk about this on the show a lot. There's a certain frame. Okay. Let's not talk about culture yet. Let's talk about framework of talent, right? You've got certain capabilities. And I think what they started looking at is saying, okay, they started taking stock in what they had from certain capabilities. Are these players growing? Are they improving? Are they learning? And I think they felt a little stagnant. And that's my only take on it is, okay, there's a stagnation here. We almost got relegated. And if you really look at the history of the Ironman for the last 3 years, it's been a steady decline. There hasn't been any type of incline. It's been, so I think this is them saying, okay, here's our idea. Here's our concept. Let's get this talent that we know, that we've seen growing, and that we know are capable of certain things. Not that their other roster wasn't, but let's get some fresh blood in here, and let's really start from scratch and see what we can do from a zero spot, right? We're starting ground level. Let's go. We got nowhere to go but up.
I believe since I think 2020 was the last time, was the COVID season, they won Vegas, right? It was the last time Ironman won an event. But then even before that, they went through a pretty large dry spell as well. So, you got to look at, if I'm the owner of the Ironman, right? If I'm Die and my flagship team has won one event in, let's call it 10 years, right? That's one of those things where, you know, what can we do different, right? In today's day and age, everybody, at least from what I've seen, you know, all the people coming in, they're all fast, they're all in shape, they're all, you know, it's just that game is evolving where the players may not have necessarily the gun skills that comes with adaptation, maybe lots of practice, but the physicality of those teams. I mean, both of your teams, right? Ryan, the guys that you have on there, Mike, the guys that you have on there, you know, Mike, you have a little bit of an older roster. You know, those guys aren't spring chickens by any means, but they're all every single day on social media. You can see it. They're grinding, they're practicing, they're working out, they're doing all this stuff. It's like, you know, and then Ryan, obviously you have arguably probably the most athletic player in the history of paintball, you know, with Mouse. So, you know, you got to adapt. You got to, and I think you're right. It's what the Ironmen are starting to do now, looking at what they have and going forward. So I know I'm excited to watch this back and hear what Shane has to say about it. Cause it is, I mean, you're talking about, you know, Nick Sloviak is still a big name in paintball. So to cut him or to release him into the wild, before I let you all go, cause I know probably Shane's waiting, where do you all think with everything going on? You know, Nick has played for essentially the 187 crew. It's now Revo. He's played for Heat. He's played for, you know, X Factor. Now he's played for Ironmen. And his relationship with Die, right? I'm hearing it makes more sense to go with Todd Adamson's new team because it's going to be supposedly going to be a Die team. But I'm interested to hear what either of you said. So Ryan and then Mike, where do you think Nick may land given his assets and his legacy?
Well, I'll answer the question in two ways. One, I think the rosters that most need him. I think Austin Notorious really needs him because they need that solid foundational 3 player that I know he is, and he's, you know, maybe one of the best at it. And I think they could really he could help build some culture there that would last a long time. But they're not a Die team, of course. So where I think he's going to end up is with Todd. And that's just my gut. You know, I don't know anything. I think that's where he'll end up because of his relationship with Todd, because of his relationship with Die. And, you know, there's a lot of rumblings about what potentially the name of the team could be if it is Aftershock.
Yeah.
My heart will also want him to end up there, you know? Just being him being a Midwest guy, that being a Midwest brand, I'd love to see that happen. What I really think though is whoever gets him is getting a really good player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. What a great answer, and what a great way to answer it, Ryan. That's exactly what I was thinking. Obviously, I was looking at the history with the loss of sense from Revo. I thought, well, there might be room there, but there's the Die connection. The other thing I thought about, I was like, well, Russian Legion's a Die team, but they're not needing his role right now. So to your point, I was like, Notorious could really use him. But at the same time, it just made sense. You know, when I heard Todd had bought a spot and that Nick was free, I was like, that's probably happening. So,
yeah. And that's same thing. I think it would be a you know, kind of a swap, a 1-for-1 swap a little bit between Revo and Ironman. You know, my heart of hearts, I would love to see him on Heat, just because even though they may not need the spot, I think the best Nick ever got to shine was that maybe on Heat when he was really after the Aftershock days. He had that big run with Heat. I would love to see that. But yeah, I would love to either see him on Revo or maybe a team like Blast Camp, right? That needs that veteran experience, that might need that. They're a Midwest team. They're 2 hours away from his house. But Blast Camp has already some pretty solid 3 players. I'm just speaking maybe from like that veteran experience, been around the game, knows the situations, could have that educational point. Blast Camp would be an interesting part. But I agree. I think more than likely it's going to be Todd Adamson. So
I'd like to see him go anywhere he can play a lot.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
He seems like last year, you know, he didn't get to play much, you know, so I'd like to see him be somewhere where he can get to play a lot, where he can find some, because I think Nick is a player who, when he gets rhythm and tempo, he's at his best.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, when he would come in 1 out of, you know, every 3rd point or whatever, I don't think he really got to be in that flow state and be in that that space that all athletes like to be in, where things are just happening. You don't have to think too much. Things are just occurring, and you're kind of physically and mentally and spiritually all kind of in this space, and everything's just working out. So I'd like to see him be where he can play. But I don't know that I agree with the blast camp thing, other than location. Just because they do have, Jackson's really good, Soap's really good. They've got great 2s and 3s. I don't know if that would be a good space for him, because then one of those guys who really needs that time on the field is gonna sit so that he can participate. So I'd like to see the blast camp guys, and I think this is kind of what they're doing, bring their guys and let them get as seasoned as possible, no matter what happens. Just, kind of stick to your game plan, make sure that your structure is good, put the guys out there and let them get the experience. The gap of the real difference between what happens in semi-pro and pro is the mental speed, right? Like, things physically are happening faster, but it's because of the processing speed of those, the pro players. They're just, things are happening so quickly because they're thinking about them so quickly. So I think that as much as they can get their guys out there and play, they're going to be fine, I think.
This is why I love watching the coaches show, because the way you break that down, right? Just from like a fan perspective, I think about it one way, but just how methodically you put things together on something as simple as someone just making one roster move. That's why I love this show. That's why I'm so happy to be a part of it. You guys have me on here. So
I could also be totally wrong.
Hey, you know what? At least it sounds good. And that's half of show business, is sounding good. So,
well, if you're developing for the future, right? And in my head, if you're a brand new pro team coming in, you've got to be thinking about, and Mike shaking his head, because he did this in their freshman and their sophomore season. And so did I with Notorious. And I have now new goals, of course, with AC Diesel, but you have to set these micro goals about here's where we are, here's where we want to be, how do we want to get there, and then what does that process look like, right? And then real measurable micro goals kind of along the way, so that because if you go to an event and you have expectations like, we're going to win 4 matches, well, you're not. And so if that's your goal, you're in trouble, right? It has to be like, hey, let's win a point, and then let's win 2 points in a row, and then maybe we'll win a match, and then maybe we'll, maybe by the 3rd event we're making a Sunday, and then maybe, like, you have to have these little, I would have things where it's like, okay, let's try to play a perfect point. And to me, a perfect point doesn't mean 5 guys alive. It means that we played the point, and every person who participated knew where every player was on the field. They knew what every job was that had to be done, knew who was on it at all times. That, to me, is a perfect point. It win or lose if they walk off, but everybody knew all that. To me, that's a perfect point. It's perfect.
See, right? you hit on the fact that, you've got to set those micro goals, and too many people think that, okay, we set these goals, but they don't think about how you're going to reach them. They don't put the process in place. Yeah. That's part of coaching. You better understand what that entails and what that means, and you better have a vision, because if you're a coach and you're a new coach to a new team and you don't have a vision that you can't explain to your team, I talk about this all the time. I can't lead if you don't understand what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So that communication and all of that has to be explained, well thought out, and meticulous. So I'll shut up now.
Well, fellas, as always, I appreciate your time, and thank you for letting me on, and more moves to come. And make sure to check them out. I'll be sharing them out everywhere, tagging everybody. So Let's Talk Paintball is up and running at full speed in the off season. So
it's flying right
real
now.
Quick,
flying.
Real quick. I did want to thank you. I wanted to thank you live, even though you helped me with this 2 months ago. Vince helped me pull a practical joke on my team. Thank you very much, Vince, for that. It actually involved the Ironmen.
Yeah,
I pulled a practical joke on my team by and thank you. I just wanted to thank you for creating those graphics for me and helping me out.
Oh, yeah. I had to. I mean, when you hit me up and you showed me the graphic, you're like, "Hey, I'm going to share this if it's okay, just as a joke, to my guys." I said, "Hold hold on one second. And I made you a real one. It was like, yeah, here's what it really looks like. And then I think you guys even said it was like the actual look and feel of a Let's Talk Paintball post that sold it.
That's exactly what they were like. This can't be happening. And then when I sent them, I said, I'm sorry, guys, here it is.
Yeah.
They all bought it hook, line, and sinker. And I felt really bad afterwards because
no, you didn't.
It wasn't bad.
Well, anything I can do to help, fellas, I'm always here. So
thank you.
Thanks for what you do, Vince. We look forward to seeing you soon. Happy New Year.
You too.
Woo! A lot going on.
A lot. You know, we're 30 minutes in and just a lot to talk about, a lot going on there. So I think it's just going to get crazier. You watch. It's coming. It's going to be insane.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting too to kind of talk through with Shane about, you know, all of these moves that have been made. And you mentioned culture when we were talking to Vince, and that'll be one of the things for sure for him that he's really going to have to get these guys focused on and understanding, like, hey, this is new. We're all still feeling each other out. And I know there's several of the guys that have played together before, but there's a lot of new pieces there, right?
That's right.
And so getting them all on the same page and building that culture, and especially on a team like the Ironmen, making them understand that that name on the front means way more than the one on the back, right? And what they're playing
all coming into this incredible legacy. This is an incredible legacy team, right? You're bringing in, you've got all this talent. Now we've got to get that talent and make it a team. Yes, to your point, some of them have played together, but I think, you know, got some work cut out. Shane's got a big effort in front of him. Herculean is what I would use to describe it, but we'll see. Well, we might be, you know, let's bring him in. Let's ask him.
Yeah, let's pull Shane in. We'll just grill him about it.
Shane. Welcome, Shaner.
How you doing, boys? Happy New Year's. Right?
You
Here
too.
we go.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're having one hell of a new year.
I was about to say.
A little bit of fireworks, a little bit of chaos and craziness, but yeah, it's been exciting. Really exciting. You know, a lot of changes, to say the least, and a lot of work ahead, I guess, you know, so we'll see. Yeah. And our vision from Cup, you know, after Cup, I should say, or last season we done so poorly, we kind of had a game plan and had a vision for what we were looking to do. And with Billy Wing leading the charge, it kind of went crazy last week. Honestly, it went from one player to six. Not exactly what I had in mind per se, but he's like, this is going to be going forward with the Ironman is going to look like, and we're going to be aggressive going after players, and we're going to be, you know, will it translate into W's? I don't know. I mean, we got a lot of work to get everyone to bond, but as a franchise and as a team, we're not going to sit back and be, you know, a doormat anymore. We're tired of it. We're tired as a franchise. We're tired as, you know, old school Ironman. You know, that, you know, I got guys calling me that I played with 30 years ago and give me the, you know, dude, what the hell? Let's go. You know, I mean, so, you know, that kind of hurts your soul, you know, and I mean, one of my guys that I duck hunt with is one of the old school Ironman guys. I hunt with him every weekend, and I got to listen to him the whole time in the blind talking about how bad we sucked this past season, and that's not fun, you know. So yeah, Clayton Kyle is not easy on anybody, and definitely not on me. So, you know, so but yeah, it was I would like to say it was all me, but it really wasn't. It was Billy Wing. He's our, you know, our he was the maestro of this craziness, and then after, then we had to do, you know, we had to let some players go last week, which was not fun for Christmas or fun for me in general or Billy, but I mean, it's part of nature of the game and nature of the beast, and you know, new
Billy's
blood and new changes.
Right.
What's
Billy's
that?
an engineer, so he's engineering this type of situation, you know, and
absolutely.
We were joking about it earlier that nobody likes. I'd made this statement earlier in the day, and I said, you know, nobody likes change except for a baby in a dirty diaper, but I do believe that change does equal opportunity, and it sounds like you guys have a significant opportunity now with this new firepower you've brought in. So the question now becomes, what's the plan? I mean, we've got all this talent kind of spread out. How are we going to create this team culture? How are we going to make this a team?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest low-hanging fruit, right? To get the guys to bond, for me, I that's my job now. Billy's created this monster, and now that's my job, and actually Pax's job. Mike and I, Paxton, we'll be leading the ship together, and honestly, I mean, before last year, I thought I could help, kind of guide a ship and get the guys to bond together, and it just never worked out for us last year. So going into this season, it's just more work on me, more work on the guys, and baby steps. Honestly, our first practice will be coming up next month. Gave a couple guys a few more months off, just to kind of for us to get through all the logistics of buying guys tickets and everything. Get out here, to be honest with you. But our first practice will be just us, and we'll go beat up on each other. Mike and I will definitely strap it on again against them, and you got to kind of a general rule of the team. You got to be better than the coaches. So I'm definitely bunkering a few of them. I'll tell you that right now. And I expect to be bunkered too, so which will be fun. But and then we just, like I said, baby steps. Try to keep it simple in the beginning. This is my vision of what I plan on doing. Keeping it simple in the beginning. Because there's so many new faces and so many changes. Kind of let the alphas will always come out. They'll always find their way, and I'll try to keep them in check. And I'll also try to keep them, and let them know that, hey, man, let me worry about that. You worry about playing. You worry about being a good teammate. You worry about the little things. Back, maybe we all go back to, like I said, basic fundamentals and communicate and working together and being a great teammate. And then we'll go from there and we'll build from there. Like I said, will that translate into W's? I don't know, man. We just gotta this bracket, this pro divisions. Wins are hard to come by, as you two both know. It's a fight, and every team's good. So does that, we added all this talent, but I'm not naive. I know we could go out there and just get smacked around because there's precedent. There's been teams that have put a lot of guys together that have talent, and it just doesn't work. And and then as it's, you have some flares of greatness from those teams, but for the most part, they're not consistent. So kind of my goal is to hopefully get us to bond, maybe bond quickly. That'd be really nice for me. And try to be a consistent, competitive team and be in every match and see what happens. And as the season progresses, hopefully we get stronger and stronger and we start making some runs at a couple of these events. That's kind of my goal. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. So you have a bunch of new weapons. Have you worked with any of these guys before? So Tom Guest, Henry Sense, Steven Amara, Damian Vasquez, Scotty Graham. Have you worked with any of those guys before?
Not really, honestly.
Okay.
A little bit with Damian, but that's just out of practice. Honestly, I just kind of watch him from afar, and what, man, he's got F you, and all last year I was like, I liked his style, I like his personality, I liked his demeanor. And so it fell into place, I reached out to him first and then Billy kind of closed him, honestly. And I'm really excited about what he's going to bring to the table. But the other guys, I haven't really worked with them. I did play against Henry and Amara, back in the day when the royalty guys, when we came up. And, we used to kick the shit out of them. Let's be honest. Come on, But no,
Something you won't let them forget, I'm sure.
Oh no. I think that they're going to definitely enjoy shooting me up. I have a feeling that's coming. But so this is all new for me too. Getting to know how they play, and just kind of seeing how they work and gel together, and kind of our game plan. I'll be honest with you, it's a new beginning. We kind of cleaned house, all the veteran guys. It's Mike and I left, and our new roster. Honestly, so codes will be different. I mean, it's kind of a clean slate for us, and for me, I'm kind of excited about. obviously they're all veteran players and they all have their strengths and weaknesses, and hopefully I can put them in the positions to, to thrive, so, and it's a new beginning for them too. A lot of these guys are hungry for playing time, hungry for, to win. And I think, we're all going to put in the work, so I'm fingers crossed, boys, fingers crossed. That's where we're going to be, optimistic about the season. That's where I'm going to be at. Humbly optimistic. How's that?
Oh, it's a good way to be. It's a good way to be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to manifest these beliefs, right?
Yeah,
so before we get too far into the new roster, I want to talk about who we are keeping, if that's okay. I think we're keeping Keith DeVitt, Clay Hughes, Mike McGowan, and Kyle Niccolo, correct?
So this is going to be edited, right?
Well, this show comes out on January the 2nd.
Okay. So as of right now, those are the 4 that are on the roster. All 4 of them bring different intangibles to the team that we want and we like. Will that be our final roster going into Las Vegas? That is still yet to be seen, because Billy Wing gave me the roster, but it's my decision who the final 8 are, or final 9, 8 or 9. So does that mean? Yeah, does that mean that some of these new guys might not make the team? Absolutely, as far as I'm concerned. I think we kind of know what we got with everybody, so we kind of have a good idea what's going to happen. But it's never a bad thing to have some competition, the way I look at it. So yeah. And we're we're going to be moving forward, and that's the reality of our team right now. Is we've always had a motto on the Ironman: the axe is sharp, and it's sharp right now, obviously. So I mean, especially after last week. Jeez,
So you brought up a good point. I was gonna bring this up. So I thought one of the things that was a real challenge for you guys especially early in the season, but it seemed like it lingered a little, is you really had a lot of bodies on the roster. Yeah. Like trying to, I think Mike's really good at what he does. I'm pretty average, but I don't know that I have a plan for 12 guys. When I start looking at how I would rotate that, I could do it, but it wouldn't, I don't know that I could do it well, so I am happy to hear you say that, you're talking about 8 or 9. I think that's a great number. It's really manageable. With 8, you're talking about 2s and 3s play almost every point, and you're shifting around some speed guys here and there. I think that's an awesome plan.
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes, right? Last season I fully take full responsibility of how the Ironman did. It's all on me. It was my decision to keep extra bodies. It was my decision on honestly, from head to toe, it's got to start with me, and ends with me as far as I'm concerned. And so, having those extra bodies, through the course of the season, there was some other outside factors for a reason why we kept certain players, but I was just trying to find something that would work. I'll be honest with you. Usually at the events, I was playing 8, 9 guys. Yeah. At World Cup, I played 8 guys. But still, even with that said, it was a mistake because on layout weekends, I had extra bodies there, and it was less reps for those 8 guys, and that's a mistake, and that's fully on me, and we're going to fix that for this season, and that's like I said, you learn from your mistakes, and, God knows I'm going to make mistakes this season, and I made a ton of them last year. So hopefully I can learn from that and move forward. So that's kind of our, the line was drawn in the sand by Mr. Billy Wing on me also on that one. So, like, hey guys, we need to keep it thin and keep it trimlined, I guess, and honestly, let's be honest, it's just much easier on us as coaches, and I want everyone to play. I mean, I always feel like I have a connection to the guys. At least try to. That and sometimes it's a fault on me. I want to be their friend because I was a player, and just like you guys, I want to treat my guys the way I want to be treated. I want to be treated with respect and be treated like a pro, but also, there's nothing wrong with us being brothers and, having a cocktail after the end of the day, or while we're eating dinner, we're talking about other stuff other than paintball, and just being friends. And I want those guys to play. I want everyone to play because that's why they're there. It's supposed to be fun,
Yeah.
And so for me, that's another thing too. I really felt that last year we didn't have a lot of fun, on the field. And I mean, obviously winning's fun. Let's be honest.
Yep.
Winning's the perfect elixir for all your little problems. When you win, all the other stuff kind of goes out the window. So hopefully this year we can right the ship as far as that goes.
Well, you said three things that I really relate to. One, you talked about how the buck stops here, right? It's my responsibility. I take full responsibility for that. Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who really thinks that way, but it's good to hear other coaches taking that kind of accountability, because ultimately, right? Ryan and I talk about this all the time. Coaches plan, players execute. There's got to be that symbiotic relationship, right? But you said that. You also said that, hey, I want everyone to play. And it's easier when you have that controlled environment of that 8-9 guys that you can dig. You still have the depth, but you still have the capability of the weapons. So those sorts of things. I wanted to hop back on something because, it's interesting, the approach, and I want to build on what Ryan was saying. Ryan was saying that, hey, you've got these weapons and you've taken this, you had these bodies last year. You've got all this, now you've got this focus. I like the approach you're taking because you're basically saying, yeah, I've got essentially 10 guys, right? I've got 10 guys, but I'm only probably taking 8, 9. Somebody's not playing. And I like that perspective because when I start looking at the bodies you've brought on and I look at the people that you're maintaining, I'm seeing, okay, I see 2 1s here and 2 2s there based off the ones that we talked about maintaining. And then I look over here and I see, okay, I've got 2 1s right there. I've got 2 solid 2s right there. I don't know anything about it. Is there anything to what Vince said about a gentleman by the name of Mitch Finley?
Mitch Finley is going to try out for the team. He's
all right.
On the,
so Mitch will be
we're
trying
him out. Yeah, he's trying out for the team, and he will be a 3 if he makes the team. Yeah,
there it is.
Kind of
okay.
Yeah. So,
but that's what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at this, and I see I see 2 3s here. I see plenty of 2s. I see a couple of 2 3s either way, and I see some pretty hot 1s, right? So it looks like you've got that balanced, attack now. You've got a lot to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. The roster, Billy and I talked about it also, is like we wanted to be, not so much younger, but more athletic, more dynamic, across the board. We're always going to have our offensive philosophy. I know the game is more of a control game now, but in the same breath, I think we're always going to have, if you guys, and if anyone knows me, I want the guys to be offensive, and they're never going to have an issue. I'm never going to have an issue with them playing to win.
Yeah.
Whether it works out or not, I mean, that's just who I am. I know that Dave, the owner of the team, I mean, if it was up to him, we would run to the 50s every single point. I mean, or to their side of the field every single point, because he just wants offense. So, which I can respect and I can understand that. So he just wants our guys to attack. So, being a little more athletic, being a little more balanced, like you said, and having 2s that can close, that's really going to help. That's really going to help, and hopefully they perform, and that's kind of like what I feel. I got to put the guys in position to succeed, and I have no problem switching guys around. If a guy's like, I always play Doritos, I'm like, well, dude, you know what? You're going to play the Snake this week, and I want to see what you got. You know what I mean? Because I want what's best for the team. I don't, whether you're on one side or the other, and of course I'm going to play them to their strengths, but you just never know. A lot of times you find a guy that always plays a Snake, and the next thing I know, I put him on the Doritos side, and he's, on their side of the field every single point. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we found something here, and you guys know, you deal with injuries, you deal with, different stuff throughout the year. I know if I'm the more versatile I am, the better off as a team, I can have more options. I mean, it's just common sense the way I look at it. So, hopefully it works out.
So you're in kind of a unique position, especially from the show perspective. You know, we haven't really talked much about building a team, right? And that's really, in essence, that's what you're doing. You've got a few guys that have been with your group for 1 year, and then 4 guys who've been with your group for 1 year, and then you have 6 guys coming in. So you're basically starting from scratch. So kind of talk us a little bit through, like, what does that plan look like, both sort of off the field, and then that first practice you've already kind of like, I have 3 questions here. You've answered 2 of them. Because I was going to ask who's coaching, which is you and Mike, and then when's your first workout? Going to be sometime, it sounds like, in February. So
January.
It's late January. Okay.
Yeah.
So like, when you guys get together that first weekend of January, do you have some team building things for off the field? Are you guys going to do some activities? And then, you know, what does it look like from the first time you get them together in a huddle? What does that meeting look like? And then how are you going to sort of, what are your KPIs? Like, what are your metrics you're using to kind of check on it throughout the day, right? Like, here's the goal we set for the day. Are we doing it? Are we getting there?
Right. Yeah, it's a great question, but yeah, I think whenever you're, for me, and I'm sure other guys do it, building the roster, I try to be balanced. We just kind of talked about that, having that balanced attack with the players, you know, 1s, 2s, and 3s. And you start writing down names, and you start putting a number by them, and you know, and a lot of guys nowadays are 1-2s or 1s or 2-3s, and you start kind of weighing it out, and then you're like, well, we're really heavy with 1s. We got to pump the brakes on going after, you know, this guy or that guy. Let's start working on 2s, you know, and let's start working on 3s. I mean, for the most part, in my opinion, the 2s are what win you games. Those are the guys who are usually there, you know, the quarterbacks that fill the hole when the 1 dies or when the 1 blows a hole open. And then in the 3, if you can get a 3 to kill people off the break and do the same as like I said, a 3-2, that really kind of what we're looking for. A true 3 for me is not really in my mindset. You know, I'll be honest with you. I want guys a little more, you know, I have no problem playing as a 1 in back center and have them shoot and releasing somewhere. I mean, guys see that, us do that all the time, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I mean, I'll ask my snake player to shoot off the break, and sometimes you look at me like I'm crazy, but there's a reason why we're doing it, is because I'm not risking them off the break, and I'm going to slingshot them, what we say, you know, to, you know, a different bunker, and it gets that heavy guns into a spot that is out of back center type of deal. Going into the first practice, we really want to have time to do outside activities other than, you know, just the basic, you know, I mean, and hopefully you guys come out and practice at our field out here in Cali. We have a full grass field that we practice on. It's our home field in Hollister, California, and just letting you know, the tri-tip sandwiches are the best thing ever. And it's 5 minutes away from the field. And when I start saying tri-tip sandwiches, the guys will look at me like I'm crazy, but the guys that have been there, they'll understand. And that's definitely something we'll do as a family and a team. And, you know, and I'm going to have fun. You know, will we do something later on that night? I don't know. We'll see. We're kind of, you know, play it by ear and see how it goes. As far as the practice goes, it's a clean slate. You know, we're realistically going into it, the codes will be the bunker codes that we used last year, because Mike and I are complete idiots, and that's the ones that we know that we play with, so that's the ones they got to use, because it makes it easier on us. And that, I mean, full transparency, let's be more so Mike, you know, I mean, come on, you know what we're dealing with there. But yeah, no, me too. So that but other than that, I will implement a few codes that I want, but I'm going to give it to the guys. You know, and I'm going to be like, you know, because we do have a lot of moving parts, and I'm open. If it can make our team better, I'm open for anything. You know, these guys are all coming from different camps, and we can come to a conclusion. And for me, as long as it's simple, let's be honest. These guys, yeah. I mean, paintball players make paintball way too difficult. I mean, you know, it's like, come on, guys. You know, let's just keep this simple. Let's keep it, you know, kind of, you know, because for the most part they come up with these elaborate names and this and that. They don't use it in the game. I mean, come on. I mean, yes, once or twice, but let's keep it simple. So we'll talk about that in the first meeting. We'll kind of let that flow through the weekend, and then we'll have it pretty much, you know, then once it gets established over that a weekend, what guys got, you know, I'll type up something and put it on the team chat, and that's what we'll roll with for the season. You know, as far as that goes. As far as the playing goes that weekend, we're just going to beat the crap out of each other. Let's be honest. You know, I want them to go at each other. We're going to play full points, 3-on-3s. We'll do a 2-on-2 tournament, blind draw. We'll do one-on-ones. I mean, honestly, I got to do one-on-ones. I got to know who my guys are when we go into overtime, who I'm going to play. You know, I have a good idea who I go with, but you know what? Sometimes I like nothing wrong with friendly competition, letting them, you know, earn it. And I'm going to tell them beforehand, you know, it won't be just one tournament. We'll do one-on-ones. We'll probably do one both days. But it'll definitely be, you know, that's who I'm going to send out there. I don't owe these guys anything as far as like who's the guy, earn it. So that's, you know, and, you know, we kind of have a formula. You know, I let Mike run it, and he's a savage on the guys, and, you know, and we run them into the ground as far as that goes on stuff like that. And honestly, it's just a fun weekend, man. That's all we want to do, you know, and that's why Mike and I are going to play. We'll probably have a third line of, you know, myself, Mike, and a couple of my old Rolex guys that are local here, and I guarantee you we win points. You know, I guarantee you. You know, so we'll put it on them a little bit. So, you know, but yeah, that's kind of keeping it simple, keeping it fun. You know, that's going to be my approach. Especially, like I said, baby steps. We're not going to get too elaborate. That, you know, and then, you know, and we'll build on top of that. You know, and kind of just it's just going to be a lot more work on me and the guy, and honestly on the guys. You know, they got to come together as a team. Then that falls a lot on them too. You know,
Sure.
Who's going to be my alphas? Who's going to be my leaders? You know, because every team has to have them. Hold each other accountable. You know, and so hopefully, and then, you know, and also I'm going to keep guys in check on that too, because there only can be one, right?
Right.
As you guys know, there only can be one, right? You know.
I like how you're talking about keeping it simple, and that dynamic. By the way, great question, Ryan. That was fantastic. Yeah. You know, how are you going to win that alpha when that cream rides to the top, right? Who's going to take that team captain role? Because that liaison role is very important. That quarterback role exists in paintball, and people don't realize that, right? And you can have more than one quarterback. But something I remember when I first, and I'll share something personal here real quick. When I first showed up at the Hurricanes, when they back in semi-pro, and they brought me out, I love to start practices off layout weekends with one-on-ones. Let's get the blood pumping. Let's see who wants it. And what I like to do is when I first came out there, I brought a goodies bag. I went to like a Dollar General or something, bought a bunch of silly toys, and I said, "All right, you know, this is what's up for grabs. It's this new Hot Wheels launcher. Who wants it?" and it was, you know, here's a fake tattoo sleeve. Who wants the fake tattoo sleeve? You got to do this to do it. And I started just pitting them at it to see where that competitive edge is and who would get after it. And what was cool about the Canes was everybody wanted to kill each other for a stupid toy. And right then I knew I'm in a good spot. I've got some good guys here because they were so competitive. And to your point, winning's fun. And that was the third point that I didn't mention earlier when I was talking about it, that you said winning's fun. And you've got to create that, right? I was talking to Aaron Pate. I was on the phone with him earlier today. You guys will both get a crack out of this, but I'm a nerd, right? So I read sports psychology all the time. And I was talking to him about this acronym called GRIP, right? And when you're building a team, and I think it's so funny that I was reading about this and you're asking Shane Pestana about building a team, right? Because you're right. We haven't had this opportunity to talk to a coach who's been in this position before. And GRIP stands for goals, roles, interpersonal relationship, and processes, right? So every team has to set those goals. Ryan and I were talking about goals earlier, right? Setting those micro goals and knowing what that looks like, how to get to that. Roles, understanding where your strengths are with your players, what role they have to play amongst the team. Are they a great teammate? Are they that quarterback? Are they the killer? What are those roles? Obviously, the interpersonal relationships are important. The team's got to get along. We've talked about this on almost every one of these shows. If I don't trust you, we got issues. So we got to build that trust. We got to have that camaraderie and that capability that it's us against the world. Everybody else dies but us. come back, with your shielder on it, that kind of thing, right? You got to be down for the squad. One guy messes with one of your boys, he's messing with every one of your boys. Let's go get some. And then processes, basically that training mindset. Hey, what are we doing to get to these goals? What are we doing to create these interpersonal roles? What are we doing to, create these roles? So grip, just remember that. So I'm really excited to see, what you're going to do. I can't wait to talk to you because I'm probably going to call you after that first weekend to see how it went.
Hey guys, my headphones just died, I think. Can you hear me okay or no?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry about, the one died. I'm like, okay, shit, so, in full thing. I lost like the last minute what you just said, but,
I have that effect on people. They're like, Bianca's talking. Everyone.
No.
So one of the things you mentioned too about one-on-ones and watching kind of leaders sort of come out, I like to do call outs, like let them call each other out, because it gives me an idea of if like a middle player calls out a lower player, I know that's not my leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
If a lower player calls out the best guy on the team, he might be my leader. That guy might be my dude, right? Because he's got gumption, he's got attitude, he's got that kind of spirit that I like, right? That he's kind of he thinks above his brand, if that makes sense, right? Like, I know I'm down here and I'm not as good as you, but I'm coming for you, right? I want to be there, right?
That's right.
So I like to let him do a little call out, right? And it also creates a little bit of like F you, right? And I like to do it right off the bat in the practice so that we go in with a little bit of attitude and a little bit of chirpy and a little chippy. And that way, once they understand when they get into the nets, it's now we're going, right? It's not, especially when you're playing each other, sometimes it's hard to get that, like doing those inter team practices, it's hard sometimes to get that kind of intensity that I know as a coach I want, right? Like out there, I want you to be incredibly intense. When you're out here, fine, right? But as soon as we walk in there, it should be different. Everything should change for you. So I like to do those call outs, let them call each other out, put them out on the box. One beats the other. I let them come off. Now the guy who got beat can call somebody else out, and the guy who won can go stand over to the side. He doesn't have to do a call out. And I just let them go down the line if they want.
See, this I
like
think
that.
is
I'm
a little,
feeling that way.
Yeah, I'm going to use that one for sure. Yeah, this is almost unfair for you two to have this coaches show. You're getting all these ideas from all the coaches, and it's going to be even harder to beat you. I don't know about this, I think I'm going to enter this. I mean, not like you're going to learn anything from me, but that's a great idea.
No, stop it.
Yeah, you and I were both taking notes on that.
I do like it.
Yeah.
It normally happens organically, right? Normally, like when you do it, we're gonna have one, and I want you to pair up or whatever. Organically, I think to Ryan's point, organically it happens like that. One guy's gonna be like, "I'm gonna hit above my pay. Let's go. I'm gonna hit above my weight class." And there's always that guy, and I think he makes an excellent point about that. The thing that I do want to talk about, you took a shot at yourself just now, right? And I kind of want to talk about that, right? Ryan and I've talked to several coaches say, well, I'm not a coach. I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Let's talk about the evolution of Shane Pestana as a coach. I mean, you had to have learned, you already admitted that you've learned a tremendous amount from last year, right? And so there's been, and I realize I'm being a jerk asking this type of question, but I just feel like, how do you feel you've evolved in your view? Because you've been coaching a while. I mean, you were a champion before that, and then you started coaching. And, how has that evolution taken place? Or has it?
The evolution of me coaching, I was asked to when, well, first off, let's go back in the day. When I came into playing paintball, I was really fortunate to be under the wing of Bob Long. And Bobby taught me a lot. I was young, but he taught me a lot about how to be a good teammate, how to be a good leader. And it's funny, I always revert back to things that Bobby said, three decades ago, really, and it's, you know, and I know the new guys nowadays, they like roll their eyes about the old guys talking about the old days, but honestly, it's still the same thing. It's still the same stuff, you know? And so that evolution, you know, of coaching, and, you know, I was a player coach, and then I was a coach, and then we had you know, went on that run where I had that, you know, that really good team, you know, and then I came back and did the royalty thing. And, you know, and that honestly really got me more involved as being, you know, air quotes, as a coach, because I saw that you could really develop guys, you know, if you put in the work and time, you know. So now bringing, you know, full circle, we bring me back now. Honestly, I'm just trying to keep it simple, keep it basic, and kind of grow from there, and not, you know, not try to do too much with these guys in the beginning. Just let it happen organically, honestly. And, you know, and then obviously I'll have to step in on stuff, but hopefully it's more of just kind of let them flow, and let them be pros, and let them be adults, and let them learn on themselves. Now, that's scary too, obviously, because then you got a lot of, you know, free will out there, and guys, you know, obviously on the field, there's going to be a set play, and that's what we're going to do. And they're going to have to understand it, but I'm going to treat them like pros. And I think they should understand that going in. You know, team comes first. All right. Obviously, you know, the shield's always going to come first before any player. So, and I will, you know, I'm going to beat that into them. That's kind of my job, right? You know, the kind of, you know, let's get the shield shining again. You know, I'm tired of us sucking. You know, I mean, you know, last year was by far the worst year of paintball in my life. I mean, just, you know, and it's not even just result oriented. We just didn't have fun. And that falls on me, man. That absolutely falls on me. You know, so we got to fix it. And that's so I learn from my mistakes. So, you know, if you see me if we're not having fun this season, you definitely come slap me around and say, hey, bro, let's go. You know, so because that's kind of me. I just want to have fun and play paintball and win. You know, so hopefully they kind of take an identity of me and the alphas on my team that take over. You know,
Shane, I'm going to add to your story because I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit. So I got to my very first coaching job was X Factor 2006 and 2007 when you came and coached the Ironmen when it was that all-star team. And I had lots of conversations with you where I learned a ton. And I did grow up as a player with Bob. You know, I was blessed to be working at National Paintball and had a lot of experiences with him. And he taught me a ton. You know, there were many nights me, you, and Paxton were sitting over at that silly bar in San Marcos, Texas, talking about things that had happened throughout the day. And I have always looked up to you as this well-rounded coach. And what I mean by that is you had the things in your tool bag that I didn't have. Like I could do the play stuff, I could put the practices together, but I didn't have the interpersonal things. I didn't develop the relationship with the players like you did. You know, I was there usually by myself, and you guys had your whole team there and we're hanging out and having fun. And that just wasn't, I didn't have that. Right. And so you taught me a ton about those kind of things. And then even when I came back and coached Texas Storm, and you were doing the royalty thing at that time. So that was 2011 to 2010, 2015. And I got to bump into you again during that time period when you were with royalty and watching kind of what you did with that group. And then I think you kind of went away about the same time I did, like 2015, right? And then I came back in 2021, and I think you came back right around that same time, right? And so I will say, like, one of the things that I noticed about paint, like the game in the way that it had changed, were that there were less of those kind of like, I hear this thrown around a lot. Like people say family, right? Like our team's a family. I don't see as much of that anymore. Most of the stuff that I see now It's like like paintball is what they do, not who they are. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So it's like you do a great job with getting your groups to all believe in you, even if it's not like the who cares if they don't believe necessarily in the game plan you're putting out, but they believe in you. Like they trust in you as their leader because you create that relationship with them where they genuinely give a shit about you and they want to play for you. Does that make sense? So
yeah,
I don't think you give yourself enough credit on stuff like that. Like
I've got to piggyback on that. I've got to piggyback on that because what you just said, Ryan, is hysterical. Shane Pestana and I met in 2012, 2013. He was playing for Royalty. We were sharing a pit, and he and I shot each other to pieces every point. And because we were playing the same position, and I remember I tried to get back at you by putting a bunch of paint into your hopper, and you had smoked me. Anyway, you remember. And after that match, you and I met and talked, and you were so kind. I'm a nobody right at the time, and you were very kind, and you're like, hey, the way you play call and the way you do this and the way you work your guys, it's neat, and I'll never forget. I probably shouldn't tell this story, but it's one of my favorite stories my wife likes me to tell because she remembers my face. And you was like, hey, I'd like to talk to you more about this. And you and I exchanged numbers. And I thought it was funny. I was like, here's the thing. I'm not afraid to say it. I had a poster of Shane Pestana on my wall, right?
You should have
in the 90s. I did in the 90s. I did. And I'll admit it. But and it was funny because I told my wife, but I was like, yeah, Shane Pestana said I was pretty good at this stuff and blah, blah, blah. And asked for my number, blah, blah, blah. And she's like, that's great. Well, a couple of days later, that phone rang and it's Shane Pestana. And you were calling me and you wanted to talk some shop. And I ended up coming out and actually playing for Royalty and you in 2016 at the WCPPL. And you introduced me to all sorts of people. And I got to see how you worked. I got to see how you ran things. I got to see the inner workings of it. And Ryan, you're absolutely right. I've never seen somebody manage people and draw the best out of somebody than Shane Pestana. And let's face it, at this time, I was in my 40s, still. And I was more of a 3, but I was playing the snake I was getting into the snake and playing the 2s and everything. And you were making me believe to do it. You were like, just go do it, man. Just go do you. And we had a great event. And Shane has a way of drawing things out of you and that's important.
Well, I appreciate all the kind words. And by the way, he did play really well in Vegas that event. So he shot a lot of guys at that event. So, and the old man had to play a lot of points because he'd look over at me and he's like, oof. I'm like, well, you have no choice. You just shot 2 dudes. You're going back out there. And he's like, oh, okay, man. Okay. Yeah, no, but yeah. I appreciate the kind words, guys. I really do. I think for me, I try to treat the guys like I wanted to be treated, and that's kind of the way I can, as a player, I always revert back to that. It's like, just treat them with respect and treat them as an adult and let them do their thing, no matter what it is. And I'll believe in them and hopefully they'll believe in me and we can build a trust together. And obviously sometimes guys will go too far or not far enough or what have you, but I just want the best for my guys. So, and I think that they know that I'm genuine that way. And I'm trying to be not really, I want to be their friend, of course, but I'm just trying to be myself with them and treat them the way I'd want to be treated. I think that's kind of my, in a layman's simple terms is what I try to do with the guys. So, does it work? Yeah, we've had good success with it. I mean, obviously last year we didn't, so, I gotta, hopefully I can make the guys believe this year, and we respect each other enough and they respect me that it happens. So, that's kind of, we have a clean slate the way I look at it. So, I mean, they can hopefully buy in and believe in the process and, we can get some W's out of this season, and kind of love to go on a few runs. I mean, I'll be honest with you, and you guys know as well as I do, like I said earlier, it's hard to win in this league, But if you can get to Sunday, man, anything can happen, and why not us? Why not us this year? That's the way I look at it, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of haters and, they were spread out all over the place and they don't know each other. Well, of course, that's easy to say that. I mean, shit, I know that. We know that. We're not, we know what we're getting ourselves into, but does that mean we're not going to work our ass off and grind? And if we can buy into the process and, hopefully it all works out, and hopefully you two don't beat the crap out of us this year.
Well, Ryan, I can certainly talk to you about haters. we have our fair share, trust me.
Yeah, I think that's just society in general now. It's kind of, I don't know, man. It's easier to hate than actually be, good people to each other and respect each other. I mean, when you step between the pipes, it's on. I mean, that's just the way I see it. But off the field, why can't we talk shop? I mean, right? It's we're all kind of doing the same thing. It's a small community too. I never understood that. I never understood the and don't get me wrong, I'm no angel either. I have guys that we don't get along with, but I mean, it's for the most part. I've never understood that. Wanting to keep everybody down. It's like let's work together and be better across the board.
That's what this show is, man. Like we literally have this conversation with, I think, every coach we've had on. We've talked about we want to give it away. We want to give it all away. Just simply because we know that if we give it all away and people will actually use it and they will start implementing some of the things that they hear here, that they will get better. And if they get better, we have to get better. And so it continues to force everything up. It continues to make us have to drive up. And if we don't, we're done. We retire and go away. Right. Which at some point that's going to happen. And, God bless it when it does. But the reality is, like, we want to give it away. We want people to have a better understanding of what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. That's it.
No, I think,
right.
Yeah. I think what you guys are doing is awesome, man. I think it's, and I tell everybody, hey, players and coach, I think, players can learn a lot from it also, not just coaches. It's just kind of a mindset, and if you can, it's just like any sport, I listen to sports talk all the time. That's all I listen to. I mean, honestly, for 99% of the time, especially during football season, listen to the coaches talk, listen to players talk. And if I can take something from what they do, especially in the NFL, what these guys do, if I can take something like that and implement into my team, why not? If it makes us better and makes us, and a kind of different perspective, just like what you guys say stuff and, I can take it, and hopefully it helps me, be a better coach or just a better, better person in general, I guess I should say, so, it's, it's a lot of times like when you're at a layout practice and you're practicing our team, and I'll be over on the Dorito side, just kind of hanging out with the guys. Everyone always stands on the snake side, and I'll always go to the Dorito side. I'll watch them. One of the kids will walk off, and even if we're playing against them, I'm like, hey man, I think, you wrap and put him back center, you go to the next bunker, you're going to be a lot, and they're like, they kind of look at me like, why are you telling me this? And I'm like, because it's going to help my team too. Because I'm going to go say the same thing to my guy. I don't know, but that doesn't happen enough. I don't think. I really don't. Because for me, it's like we're there to help each other. The way I look at it, I'm tired of dynasty winning. I'm tired of damage winning. Let's go after those guys. That's the way I look at it. I mean, shit, they're the ones winning everything. I want to see red on the top. I want to see the Ironman on the top, not them. So let's go.
Yeah, I want to see blue on the top.
I've seen enough blue, and I've seen enough of the Hurricanes all last year. I don't want to play you guys. I mean, Jesus, I mean, come on, looking at your smug ass beat me every time. Let's go.
Stop it.
I'll tell you, Shane, that's one of the reasons that, like, we went to the Hurricanes as much as we could last year for practice, is because Mike and I's groups both respect Mike and I equally. And knew, like, if Mike told my guys something, it's right. And if I asked his guys or told them something, it's right. Like, we're not trying to – we're there to help each other. Like, we had incredibly productive practices. And I said multiple times, it was by far the most professional, well-done practices I've ever had as a coach, ever, going and playing them. And we've had a ton, you know. It's just both of the groups when we get there. And it's also like being in Louisiana is just a little different. You know, everybody's just different.
Just a little different, yeah.
Everybody's a little, you know, like, hey, how's it going? You know, it's a little
Everyone's
slower, and everybody's laid back and relaxed, and it's a good vibe down there. So,
it is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It doesn't happen enough where we're sharing information, especially at layout practices. But I do think that most of the time coaches get into this mindset of, I want to have as much a competitive edge as I can. Right. And I do too. Right. But at the same time, like, I know if I go tell that guy, like you did, tell the guy who's in a spot, hey, if you wrap, put that guy in, go to the next spot, that's going to happen at the tournament. And I need my guys to see that.
Yeah. No matter what,
I need them
happen
to.
Anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
absolutely.
I need that. So we've kind of talked a lot about the history of stuff, and really quickly, I just want to talk about, so 2021, the Ironmen took 12th.
Right.
2022, you guys took 17th. 2023, you took 19th, and then literally clean the slate going into 2024. What are your expectations? And you don't have to give me a placement if you don't want, and I'm okay with that. But like, what is the goal and expectation for like the first couple of events? Like, what are you expecting the group? Where are you expecting to fall? You know, and again, you don't have to give me a space. You can give me a tier. You know, I expect us to be tier 3 after event 1. I expect us to be tier 3, tier 2 after event 2. Like, what do you think that progression is going to look like?
Well, yeah, coming into the season, I feel that expectations. Let's go with that. Okay, coming in the season for me, I feel that I'm not going to have expectations. I'm gonna let it play out and let us see where we're at. As far as, you know, where we end up and what tier. I mean, honestly, I really don't know. Could we be a tier 4 team? I don't think so. I hope not. But I mean, I didn't think that last year. You know what I mean? And so I'm trying to keep an open mind on where we're at. My expectations is I want to make Sunday every event.
Yeah.
That's my expectations.
That's
you
it,
know,
right?
I mean, yeah, that's my expectations. But you know what? Is that reality? I don't know yet. I have no idea until, you know, honestly, until we strap it on in Vegas and see where we're at. You know, we got, you know, like you said, I have a clean slate right now. I have a bunch of guys that all got to come together and bond, you know, and I think that's going to be our biggest challenge, and trusting each other and finding the right combinations that work. You know, yeah, I know guys have played together before, but you know what? I need all 8 guys to play, and I need all 8 guys to play together, you know, and then, you know, and if they trust the process and believe in me and believe in each other, you know what? Why not? Why not us? That's the way I look at it. You know, is that realistic? I don't know. We'll find out, right? If we go out there and get slapped around, then we'll adjust. You know, if we go out there and do well, you know, we're not going to get big headed. We're going to keep grinding because we have a long ways to go. We realize, you know, I realize that. And I think everybody's going to realize that with the team. You know, will the guys buy in? I hope so. Because if they don't, we're going to have a long season. That's for sure. You know, so, but I think they will. I think we got a good group. Just the initial, I mean, we've had a group chat for 2 days, guys. This is where we're at right now. I mean, literally, we've had a group chat for 2 days right now. You know?
And I want to be clear that I understand that my question, without even seeing your group perform, is really hard to answer. But here's what I'll add. You have Tom Guest, who just came off of X Factor, who's used to playing every Sunday and understands the way things change on Sunday. Emotionally, he understands how the field change. Henry Sense and Stephen O'Mara, who both have played plenty of Sundays.
That's right.
Damian, not in the pros yet, right? So we'll see with him. Scotty, we'll see, right? I do think Scotty's a really talented player. Zach Geiger, same thing. Revo NRG's played plenty of Sundays. So you've got guys coming in who understand the weight, the change, everything that occurs going into Sunday, and probably have expectations just like yours to play every Sunday, right? Like
Yeah.
they're not coming in with this like, oh, I sure hope we make it. They're coming in with expectation to make it, right? So
Yep.
I think you're just based on some of the pedigree that's there. I think you're not far off. I think you should expect to make every Sunday.
Absolutely. You've got the raw materials. Now you've got to mold them into a weapon, right? The buy-in is so key at this point. Those guys need to recognize that it doesn't matter who's across the field. I don't care if it's Dynasty, Ironman, AC Diesel. It does not matter. Paint breaks on them just like it breaks on us. And damn it, I'm going to put the paint on you. And so,
well, it will matter when it's Diesel, but it's fine.
Well, I think it's going to matter because as long as Diesel doesn't cheat or do anything like that, they'll be all right. So now I
got rid of those problems, I think.
but that's the thing, right? Is you've got to, and Shane does this, Ryan does this. I've seen you guys do this. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. It doesn't matter. You will execute your game plan. You will play your game. You will make them play ours. That's what I tell my guys, at least. I don't care who it is, right?
Yep.
Like you can go watch a video. I released a vlog in Chicago when we were playing Heat, right? In the last match. We were undefeated. Heat was, we go into it and we're having a ball. We're just having a great time. It doesn't matter. I didn't care it was Heat. I know that Heat is a great team. Whenever we play Damage, I know it's Damage. But I'm excited to be there. They better be scared. They better be scared because we don't have anything to lose. We're
absolutely. Yep.
And so
absolutely. The
minute you get O'Mara, Sense, Vasquez, Graham, Guest, and these other guys, once you get them to realize and see it and understand that it's us against them, man, I don't care. We're 10 guys, 8 guys out of what? Approximately 200 guys that get to play the sport at this level. That's a niche group.
Yeah.
So
not us? Right. Yeah. Why not us? I'm trying to keep it simple. I'll be honest with you. I'm not coming in, puffing my chest out. We're going to dominate everybody. I don't think that way. I really don't. I can't think that way. I think that'd be ridiculous. I want us to, buy in, believe, grind, and, the wins will come. That's the way I see it. That's the way I feel is going to happen. If they buy in and they grind like that, I'm expecting everyone to grind. I believe the wins will come. So hopefully sooner than later. Let's make a run right off the rip. So that's kind of my goal. I'll be honest with you guys. And we do have some horses, and I don't think the stage will be too big for like you said, these guys have played Sunday. I want them to go out there and let loose and have fun and play relaxed, because I think that's winning paintball.
Yeah, for sure.
I want all my guys, no matter who we play, I want anyone who plays us to know they were in a fight, right?
Absolutely.
It's the theory of escalation. You scratch my skin, I tear yours. You tear my skin, I break your bone. You break my bone, I take your life, right? I will wear your skin. Right. That's how it's got, you've got to. I'm sorry.
That's a little scary.
I'm sorry. I took it a little too far. I apologize.
I'm sleeping with one eye open around you now.
Yeah. We went from keep it simple to tearing faces and wearing skin.
My sincerest apologies. Can we edit that one out? I don't want any.
Oh no, that has to stay in.
But you've got to have that, right? You got to have that attitude. As long as everybody on the team thinks it. Right, you're messing with the Shield. This is what you're messing with the Canes. You're messing with Diesel. This is what you're going to get.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, maybe we should just go get in a fist fight in Vegas right off the rip. Bring us a lot closer.
Do you remember that time in Nashville?
No, I've seen a couple scuffles out there. I think that, like I said, the biggest low hanging fruit for us is to get us to bond. Get them to bond, get them to believe, buy in. Hey, what's your name again? That we'll get past that and we'll be ready to go. I hope so. And that's kind of falls on myself and Mike. And I think we have a good pedigree with it. We just gotta implement it. And kind of hopefully it works out. Maybe.
Well, I can tell you, Mike and I've had multiple conversations as fans that like it's painful to see the Ironmen kind of where they've been the last couple of seasons. And we're really excited, you know, to see this next evolution of the Ironmen. So we're rooting for you. We want to see it go well, and things. We want to see you with a smile on your face, right? Because I mean, it was obvious. Anybody who knows you and knows how jovial and kind of carefree really you normally are, just to watch you kind of last year, every now and again, shoulders, you know, down, chest kind of sunk in. It was like, man, that he's not having fun. And, you know, you could tell it wasn't a good situation. So excited both for you and for the Ironmen to, you know, elevate what that brand is. So it's scary as a fan to think about that team being relegated. Scary. You know, like being the last of the like real generational teams, right? That's been around forever. That would be really odd. Really odd. So
yeah, it'd break my heart, honestly. And I don't want to be the one at the helm when that happens. So we're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that doesn't happen, you know. And I think we made some steps in the right direction. Well, you know, hopefully that we'll be able to, you know, make it happen. And honestly, we had a lot of, like what you just said, what, you know, guys are rooting for us. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and like guys you wouldn't expect, you know, and be like, hey man, I like this. I like that, you know, what you guys got going on. And I hope the best for the team, and it's kind of that, you know, cause we've been around a long time, and the Ironmen are a name that's been, you know, at the top of this game, you know, and, you know, so hopefully, it was kind of nice to hear. It was nice to hear from people that I would not expected them to do that. So it was kind of cool. You know,
I know I've talked to a lot of people, and I'm sure Mike has too, about it, and everybody's rooting. There's a lot of fans that want to see, and not just like like guys in the professional league that want to see the Ironmen do well. And we are in a cool situation. You kind of mentioned the league earlier and how tough it is. We're in a neat situation right now with, you know, it feels like up until maybe last year included too, the bottom 6 teams just weren't really very competitive, right? They were okay. They won games here and there. I think next year is going to be different, you know, with Paintball Fit coming in, and they're a good team. Blast Camp coming in, they're a good team. Depending on kind of what happens with Todd and the Bears NRG thing, this could be the first time we have 20 legitimately competitive pro teams that you could see win. You go like have a bunch of pools where you see some 2-2, 2-2, 2-2, 2-2, 2-2, because it's getting closer together, right? Where that gap of the, you know, Dynasty and of course we know Dynasty is still going to be really good. Damage is still going to be really good. Heat's still going to be really good. X Factor is still going to be really good. But it seems like the middle and the bottom are starting to kind of rise, right? So I'm excited to kind of see what next year is going to look, especially with everybody. You can tell that everybody is putting a lot in with what's happened this offseason. I mean, just the chaos of player movement and owners being really aggressive trying to get players. It could be maybe the most competitive year we've ever seen.
Yeah, I kind of look at it. You're spot on. I kind of look at it like the NFL, that you know, that you always hear them talk about parity. You know, that, you know, and of course there's always teams that fall off, and there, that have that crappy season where then they get a first round draft pick, early pick the next season to get a quarterback or what have you. But that parity, and you're starting to see it now in our league, you know, and there's going to be cream that rise to the top, and there's going to be guys that fall on the bottom. But I think for the most part, like you said, there's, 200 players. That of that pool. Now I think we all learn from other teams' mistakes, and we add, and teams have to be aggressive, and owners have to be aggressive to be competitive. And I think it's rising, that our our bracket, our that pro bracket, it's just to a point where it's going to be scary, man, where you're going to have teams like they say in football, any given Sunday, right? Now it's going to be like, you're not going to have, you're like, oh, that's the bracket of death. You're like, well, what about the other two, man? They're pretty messed up too. I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So I think there's going to be more bracket of deaths this year, and I also think that the draws are going to really kind of determine how teams shake out also. Like you're saying, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, where, a field layout, and adding all these stake beams is going to really change stuff up. It's going to be interesting how it shakes out, so I'm kind of excited about it. I think I'm excited about throwing some offensive weapons down, on these, with the new team. So it should be pretty fun. Yeah,
I think with all the beams and kind of your style is going to work, because the way Jason's talking about using those beams kind of in the middle and a couple on the Dorito side to like cover up some gaps and things. It could be really good for you. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, I think you make an excellent point, right? You talk about how all these teams, and Ryan, you were alluding to this, you can have 20 really difficult teams, and styles make fights, right? We talk about that. And so when you sit there, and you're right, the draw is going to be that much more important, because you're going to have these styles matching up on these new layouts. I think I'm with both of you. I think it's anybody's game.
Yeah, it's gonna be bloody. That's for sure. And every team always has like an Achilles heel that hurts their matchup, and then they have other teams they match up well against. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. It sure seems like it's Sunday paintball starting on Thursdays now. At practice you're starting to see that a little more conservative, a little more control, a little more disciplined, I guess. So maybe that changes with these snake beams. Maybe there's a little more chaos out there, and we don't know. We'll find out, as far as that goes. And you have those crazy, Russian Legion points where they're winning in 20 seconds, and then they do it right back again. So, you don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited that, I'm glad the first event's in Vegas. So I'll be honest with you. We don't have to, something close for us for once. In our time zone, so that's, and plus it's Vegas. I mean, come on, I get to go gamble a little bit. So
your time zone, but the majority of your players, they aren't in California.
Yeah, you got like 4 on the East Coast, right?
More than that, I have two guys in California currently on the roster.
That's right.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy. 2.
Oh my gosh.
Right, because you've got 2 in Maryland, you've got 1 in New York, 1 in Alabama right now. What else do you have? Gosh, you got 1 in Texas.
We have a couple Canadians.
3, 2 or 3 Canadians. Goodness gracious.
Damn, the problem with Canada, there's just too many Canadians. So we're gonna have to work on this. We're.
I was gonna say that about the problem with California is there's too many Californians.
I would agree with you there. And there's a lot more of us out here right now. Yeah, it's the chaos of California, man. Oh, don't get him started. Don't get me started.
That's right. Yeah, that's been epic conversation.
Yeah, that's a whole. That we could be here for 5 hours talking about that.
That's right.
No. Yeah, but I think it's gonna be interesting, boys. I think it's gonna be a fun year. I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are excited as I am. And definitely want to get some practices against you guys, and hope you beat us up so that we can learn more.
Well, we're going out to see them in 2 weeks. So
yeah, that's right.
Perfect.
Yeah, we'll be out there. Our first practice is in 2 weeks, and then first weekend of February. So, right. Well, Shane, thank you so much. Hang out in the green room where we want to talk to you after the show. So hang out. We appreciate you taking the time this evening to hang out with us and share kind of what your plans are with this chaos. And I know we're catching literally since the day we scheduled you. I have written questions, and then you would make player changes, and then I would rewrite them. And then you would make like I had the very first time we scheduled you, I had specific player questions and was going to bring some film in about certain players like Tregarthen being one of them and talking about how you're going to replace him. And I'm like, I was going to bring some film in. Like I had all this work done and then he goes away and then you start making these. And so like I've rewritten these questions 3 different times. So
good. We like keeping you busy. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
Finally today I sent him to Mike and I'm like, here's the 3rd iteration.
Well, that's kind of why my week's been going too. Well, this week has actually been kind of nice. Last week was ridiculous. It really was. It was just so much chaos and it happened really fast, honestly. And it just kind of, and then we had to, and honestly, the guys we were letting go, I wanted to get, just kind of, let them know what's going on, because the guys are like, they're seeing what's going on and hear what's going on too, small community. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to give them an opportunity to get themselves out there to get on another team too, so it kind of, if they wanted to, that's kind of, my mindset. And, as far as our franchise goes, we want the best for all the guys. There's no hard feelings. It was just, it's just the way it is, so yeah, very excited, man. We'll see. Yeah. Here we go. Right. A lot of
all right, buddy. Thank you so much. Like I said, hang out in the green room. We'll visit with you in a moment.
We'll hop in there.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Bye.
Wow. That man has his hands full.
He really does. He really does. And I can't wait to get in the green room and tell him all of that over and over and over again. So
great show. All right. Next week.
Great show.
Next week, Mike Jeffries.
Oh,
so we're going to get the other side of all this chaos.
That's right. Ooh, that's interesting. I didn't realize. That's right. I got to start reading your emails.
Yeah. Mike Jeffries next week. Talk about what's going on with Revo and what his plan is. And so be interesting to hear his take on all this. So, well, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Ryan Gray with AC Diesel.
And I'm Mike Bianca with New Orleans Hurricanes. Where Louisiana is different.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
That is, we got to discipline. Selfish.
No joke. We're legitimate.
Let's fucking do this. Then do it. Do it 100% because I'm trying to.
We recognize that we are limitless.
You gotta be a champion, become a champion, right? Winning is a habit because we create habits that lead to good execution and success.